So here's a little itty bitty, a little titty, here's a pointer for you. If you're getting a bunch of shit done on an old car, and there's a lot of people in the world getting a bunch of shit done on old cars. You can't do it all yourself, right? So you're gonna have to pay somebody to get stuff done. So if you need to get something done, and you got to take it somewhere to somebody to get them to do stuff for you, and if part of your initial conversation is money, and I get it, and part of every conversation after that involves money, as in, it's pretty common for people to ask and want to know, and like I said, I get it. Where are we at? How much is this going to cost? Well, how much is that? Well, what do you think this is going to be? How bad is that? Like, how much work is this going to take? I mean, like I say, maybe you don't got $177,000 to spend on your car. So if that is a factor in what you're doing, then see how much of the shit you can do yourself. See what the guy wants done. And don't just jump into it and just start doing stuff and then show up at whoever's shop, with your whatever you're working on, with your 62 Corvette that you throw a handful of grenades at, and half the shit you wrecked, half the shit you stripped, half the stuff you bent, and you lost stuff, and you took it apart in such a way that who the hell knows how it's ever going to go back together again. That's not really helping. Before you start diving into that, if you are going to be getting somebody to work on your 67 Firebird, your 66 C10, whatever it is, before you start blowing the thing apart, if you've decided where it's going to go, and even if you haven't decided for sure where it's going to go for work, maybe go to a couple of places and talk to the person first. See if the shop will engage in a conversation with you beforehand on what can I do to help you being me, being the shop. What can me as the vehicle owner, what can I do for you that's going to speed the process up and help? What would you feel comfortable with me doing, and what would you like for me to do? There's a lot of things that a lot of the shops don't want you to do. Just for example, so there's a guy beating my door down, wants me to do his Chevelle. And I'm already late in getting the car in here because my plate isn't big enough, and I got shit laying all over the place, and that is entirely my fault that I have taken too much work on. Whatever, I did it to myself. So, I mean, here I am, and people are getting disappointed. Now, I've been to the guy's house with the Chevelle. I've gone there, and I've made 2 house calls so far to look at the car. This last time is because they have the car stripped down. The first time it was a running, driving car, and he asked me, how far should I go with this in tearing the car apart? So I gave him some pointers. One of the biggest things that I want to see on that vehicle when it comes here, if we are going to be reusing a majority of the parts being, hey, fatty cakes was shaking, being sheet metal doors, fenders, hoods, trunks, I would like to see that car come to me together as it is. I mean, unless the car's been butchered up and it's held together with wood screws and self-tappers and everything else, then it don't really matter. But if it's a reasonable car, and the thing is the doors open and close good in the fenders, I want to be the guy to take that car apart so I can see how the thing is together. So I can see how many shims are at the cowl on the left fender versus how many shims are on the right fender. When I pull the door off, when I take that door off because we're putting new quarter panels on, well, when I take that door off, are those door hinges maxed out in their adjustment already from the factory so that I can maneuver stuff when I'm welding the car back together to facilitate having a little more adjustment? Slide those doors by moving whatever you need to move. You know what I'm saying to you? So it's an important conversation to have with somebody. What can I do? Because if every time you talk to the guy working on your car, the first thing is going to be where we at money-wise, but you didn't do a damn thing to help, and in fact, you did a lot of stuff to hurt the situation. If you bring somebody a panel to weld into your car, but that panel is covered in red shag carpet and tar and carpet glue and foam that the guy who's going to have to cut it out to weld into your truck, if the guy's got to scrape all this shit off and clean it off before he can even decide how much of this has to be repaired and where there's holes that have to be welded up and stuff, that's going to take some time, and that's going to be a little bit of money. So and I'm not throwing this guy under the bus because it's not a huge deal. He gets it. Time is money, and work has to be done. But if he was one of those guys that starts every conversation with, "Oh my God, how much is this going to cost me? Oh, holy shit, are you serious?" Well, I mean, God damn it, then do something. You know what I mean? Do what you can do on your end to facilitate things moving a little more smoothly. And again, talk to them. And you know what? If you're going to get a car done somewhere and they don't want to talk to you, they just tell you, just bring us the goddamn car and we'll do it for you. You may not want to go there because you kind of want to go someplace. I mean, you don't need hugs and you don't need them to buy you a nice pair of warm fuzzy slippers every time you go over there. But you need to it's got to be someplace where there's reasonable communications and where they have a reasonable attitude. Like I'm saying, don't jump up on my lap, you old chubby kitty, you. Like I'm saying, if money is an object, then that's on you to figure out how to save yourself some money and do it in a way that everybody winds up happy at the end. Because if you take your car somewhere and you come across as a penny pincher, I mean, if you don't got no money, just be square with them. I got this much money to do this car. Can we do it? Sometimes the conversation will be to what level do you want the vehicle done? See, I knew you were going to jump up on me, you old faggot cake. See, get out of here. Scram, beat it. Where was I? Would you just cut it out? Shit. Oh, yeah. So, like to what level do you want the car done? Do you want this thing to be in magazines and on TV and rotating on a table on mirrors? Or do you want it to look nice as it's going down the road from 30 feet away? That's two completely different projects, and you might not be able to afford one versus the other. You know what I'm saying to you? So this is just like I'm saying, as I'm here scraping, part of this is I don't really want to scrape this. And I've done it before. I've had to do it before where somebody's wanted me to do work on the bottom of their car, and they have a lift and everything in their garage, and I know that they do. And they've been under the car doing stuff, but yet they bring me the car and the thing is coated with 1/4 of an inch of grease and transmission fluid and everything everywhere where they want me to work. Well, you couldn't scrape that shit off of there? I mean, so in that case, I scraped a little bit off of where I was working and did the work that I needed to do in the spots, and then he got it back just like that. And I know that when the car don't do it again, cut it out. Would you just get? And after the fact, he made, I can't remember his comment, but he did make a comment to me because I think he was expecting me to clean the floors of his car for him, laying on my back on my floor, because I don't got a big lift and everything here. So, like I say, scraping this, it made me think, and this isn't a big deal, I'm not calling this out. I mean, it would have been nice if he would have done this himself, because he could have. I mean, I'm just sitting on a chair with a putty knife scraping it off. There's nothing, there's no magic to it. It's the same with anything else. If you want like that, the truck is fine. But if your truck is all greasy and ugly and shitty, and you got the cab off of the frame, we'll lay down there on a piece of cardboard and scrape the floors, scrape all the grease and shit off for the guy who's going to be working on it. If you're getting motor work done and stuff, go buy yourself a can of gasoline and a bucket and a brush and sit there and clean the cylinder heads and clean the valve covers and clean some of the parts up. Get things clean before you take it in there. They're going to run it through a tank anyways, but at least that way, when they're grabbing everything, they don't got wads of shit all over their mitts at the onset of the job. That's not first impression they get. Cut it out. Would you just beat it? Scram. Exnay at K80A. Anyway, no pig Latin? What's pig Latin for get out of here, you fat kitty? Get out of here, you fat kitty. So I just thought I'd do a quick video. Bottom line, if finances are a big deal, like I say, arrange with somebody, get a game plan going as to how you can save some money in your own pocket without looking like a cheapskate, without offending the people that are doing the work, and where you can work with them to net the best end result. It'll pay off in the long run. Honesty and just figuring the shit out in the long run will pay off for you. I guarantee it.